Standing over my left shoulder, that's George Papadopoulos.
One more.
I'm undercover at a GOP event in Glendale, California. Stick around. For Be Less Stupid, I'm the host, Jon Hotchkiss.
Donald Trump and his team were set up. They were set up by the CIA and by corrupt officials at the top of the FBI.
Welcome to Be Less Stupid. I'm your host, Jon Hotchkiss. Let's get right to it. Today, I'm going to use science and my own original undercover reporting to show you how the alternate universe Trump voters live in is actually created. Now, you know this world, right? It's the world where publicly available facts are ignored by Trump voters. It's a world where publicly available facts are intentionally misreported and lied about by politicians and Fox News. It's a world where publicly available facts go unreported and thus remain unknown to Fox viewers and Trump's voters. I'm going to show you a microcosm of this alternative universe feedback loop as it plays out in real time at a Republican fundraising event in Glendale, California that I went to this past weekend, where George Papadopoulos was the featured speaker.
So when you heard my name as part of a Russia conspiracy, just understand how manipulative and purposely the mainstream media wanted to confuse all of you.
Now, you know who George is, right? Back in early 2016, George was hired by the Trump campaign to be a foreign policy advisor. While he was in Europe, George met a university professor who told him that Russia had dirt on Hillary Clinton and had her missing emails. Now, the professor tells George that he has ties to the Russian Secret Service and to Vladimir Putin. In January of 2017, when questioned by the FBI, George lied about those interactions. And he lied about reporting those interactions and the information that he discovered to the Trump campaign. He told the FBI that he did not tell the Trump campaign, which the FBI says was a lie because they have the emails. Anyway, this is what started the Trump-Russia investigation.
With my conversations with these bizarre informants or spies or whatever these people were doing, trying to entrap me and Michael Flynn.
Okay, so back to the fundraiser. It's an event that I went to undercover, as I have done several times before. I pretend to be a Trump voter.
I'm here undercover, pretending to be a member of the GOP.
In order to infiltrate an event and cover it from the inside. And by the way, this event was the real deal. Just like at all the other Trump events that I've been to, as soon as all of the people with the cameras leave, everyone slips on their hoods and lights their torches. I'm kidding. They don't actually do that. And by that, of course, I mean they don't light their torches. It was the San Fernando Valley, and it was like 100 degrees. They do put on the hoods, though. Okay, so here we go. I will show you a clip of Papadopoulos from the event, and then I will tell you the lies that he continues to tell. And at the end, I'll explain, using science, why Trump voters believe these lies. Okay, here is clip number 1.
So when you heard my name as part of a Russia conspiracy, just understand how manipulative and purposely the mainstream media wanted to confuse all of you and millions of others when they were trying to paint me as Russian intermediaries and that Donald Trump was in the pocket of Putin.
George is not telling the truth. Back in March of 2016, George met several times with a professor in Italy and in London who he believed had direct connections to Vladimir Putin. George wanted this professor to help him facilitate a meeting between Putin and Donald Trump. In the charging documents from the federal prosecutor, George admits all of this, despite lying about it at the fundraiser. Okay, now, in the next clip, and for context, by the way, when George starts off, he's referring to his Italian-born wife, and then quickly pivots to talking about Fox News.
I would be going to my sentencing after being basically entrapped by the deep state, which I'm pretty sure you're very familiar with from hearing friends like Hannity or some of these other commentators on Fox. Unfortunately, we do have Fox News because you don't actually hear the truth from any of the mainstream media.
Look, George was not entrapped by the deep state. That is a lie that he tells to stay in the good graces of the Trump administration and tells to Republican groups like this one to make money for personal appearances and to sell books. George lied to the FBI. When the FBI questioned him about when he met this professor, he lied. He lied about who the professor was. He lied about what they talked about. He lied to the FBI about asking this professor to help arrange meetings with other Russian officials, which is what he did. He admits to all of this. Look, this is his signature on the affidavit attached to the charging documents from the special counsel's office. Okay, here we go. Take a look at the next clip.
We want to give you an inside view of how the media does manipulate things to distort reality to fit a narrative. And in this case, the narrative was to destroy Donald Trump's presidency. The deep state, the global deep state, because it's not just local. This was a global effort to take down Donald Trump and his campaign and eventually his presidency.
In politics, that is called red meat for the base. It plays into Trump's voters' fears that a secret cabal of anonymous, bad-intentioned government employees control policy, and not the elected representatives. The truth is, George learned about Russia's dirt on Hillary Clinton in March of 2016, when Trump's campaign was still a joke. George was also trying to arrange these meetings with Russian officials and Vladimir Putin in early 2016, which was back when the only thing that people thought Trump would be president of is the hair club for men. And this defies credibility. According to Papadopoulos' own sworn testimony, he emailed the senior people in the Trump campaign at least 11 times to update them on the progress he was making with setting up a meeting between Trump and Putin. Again, it defies credibility that George would focus in those emails only on the Trump-Putin meeting and forget to mention this amazing piece of dirt that he has now acquired that would likely change the course of the election. That Russia had dirt and Hillary Clinton's emails and was prepared to share them with the Trump campaign. So, Papadopoulos writes a book where he glosses over all the details about lying to the FBI and his secret Russia dealings to tell a story about a deep state corruption and a plan to undermine Trump's campaign. But what really gives the story legs is when it is confirmed by Rush Limbaugh and by Fox News' Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity. This is the second part of the feedback loop.
Welcome to Hannity. Thank you for being with us. We have multiple major developments to bring you, including proof that Comey's deep state cabal spied on the Trump campaign. George Papadopoulos has a new book out called Deep State Target, How I Got Caught in the Crosshairs of the Plot to Bring Down President Trump. Probably the most accurate title of a book in a long time. He joins us tonight. George, thanks very much for coming on.
And how does the Fox BS machine affect the audience, Trump's voters? They believe it, no questions asked. And how do I know that they believe it? Just listen to the questions that George got from the Republicans at the fundraiser.
We hear Rush talk, we hear Hannity talk, and you're talking, we believe this. Common sense tells us you're telling the truth.
That what they were looking to do with you was to get you to be treasonous to this country, and you stopped them and you stood up. And I say, God bless you. God bless you for that.
So, the question is, why do people believe Papadopoulos' fairy tale instead of the facts?
All I know is it was a God plan.
So, look, there are a couple of reasons. And before I tell you, please do me a favor and make sure that you subscribe to my channel right now. Make sure you hit the bell so that you'll be notified when new episodes premiere, which is about 2 or 3 times a week. Okay, so here is why people believe George Papadopoulos is BS. Number 1, look, it takes a bunch of time and some work to get the facts. The charging documents are 14 pages of dense legalese. And look, most people don't have time to search for them on Google, let alone read them. The second reason has to do with something called confirmation bias. It's a psychological phenomenon that happens inside the brain. When we search out information, we look for information that tends to confirm information that we already believe, and then we disregard information that is counter to what we already believe. There's another psychological effect happening too, which is that the brain, because it's so complex and also so busy, when it's bombarded with a bunch of new information, it kind of takes a shortcut. And instead of absorbing that information and processing it, it skips over all the thinking, right? And cuts right to the part where it goes, "Nope, I don't believe that." Number 4, perhaps the most pervasive reason that Trump's voters believe this bullshit that Papadopoulos and others like him are peddling is because of yet a third psychological phenomenon. It's one in which people tend to rely on certain experts for information that they don't personally have. For example, say the machinations of politics. And whatever that person tells them, for example, Papadopoulos was set up by the deep state to undermine Trump. That's what they believe. That those are the facts, regardless of whether or not they're true. And look, the truth is that Fox viewers have put their faith in Hannity and Tucker Carlson and Rush Limbaugh and their ilk. And that's why they believe all of this nonsense. It's because they've put their faith and trust in people who are lying to them. Okay, that is it for this episode of Be Less Stupid. I would like to thank you very much for watching. And thank you also for sharing it on social media and telling your friends about what we're up to over here on this YouTube channel. Remember, because when it comes to the issues that you care about, the politics that you're interested in, the campaigns that you would like to get closer to, no one on YouTube gets you closer than Be Less Stupid. Thank you again for watching. I'm the host, Jon Hotchkiss, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.